Hi there, Lonnie here. Has anyone ever said to you, "Hey, you, go fly a kite"? Well, I'm here to show you how to do that. So I was out looking around in the garage the other day, and I found this piece of wood. You can see by my thumb, it's about probably 5/16 of an inch wide and maybe 3/16 thick, and it's 8 feet long. So it's a good length. It's a good piece of wood. I'm going to cut this down, and I'm going to cut it down into 2 pieces, and I'm going to try and work it out so that one piece is almost twice as long as the other piece. Hopefully. My math has never been all that great. Anyway, I'm going to cut it down. So my 2 pieces are cut, and it turns out that one, the short one, is pretty much the right length, I think, but the other one is not what I was anticipating, it being twice as long as the short one, but it's substantially longer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to notch these and fit them together. Now what you often see is the flat sides being connected together like so. Well, I'm here to tell you that I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to put them together so that the edges are notched and fit together this way. There's a reason for that, which I'll get to. Okay, so I have them notched and fitted together, so they fit pretty flush. And I was just saying, I think it might actually be a little bit longer at the tail end than I want it to be. But if it is, I can just cut a little bit off the end there. It's not going to be too big a problem. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this apart so you can see the notching. See how the notches are there. I'm going to put a drop of glue in there just to kind of hold things together. And then I'm going to put it back together and let the glue dry. Okay, so my cross pieces are glued together. Nice and solid. Remember I said before that there was a reason I was going to go edge to edge rather than flat on flat? Well, the reason for that is that I have to notch these edges, or these ends. And in trying to notch lengthways across here, the danger of a knife going through that and creating another scar on my knuckle, no, I'm not going to let that happen. So I'm going to notch these off here, sort of side to side. Another reason that I went edge to edge is that if the kite hits the ground with any impact, it's really easy to snap a piece of wood flat on, but edge to edge it's a little bit more solid. And I'm going to tie this off too. I'm going to tie this intersection off here. But first I'm going to put a coat of paint on it so it's going to look pretty. Okay, if nothing else, we have to be pretty. Okay, as you can see by the clothing that I'm wearing, it's a whole different day than it was yesterday when I was shooting this. It's now tomorrow. So I got my cross pieces glued and tied together. You can see a bit of string here, and there's a bit of glue on the string as well. So that just kind of keeps these cross pieces nice and secure and stable. And again, like I said, I've kind of done it edge to edge. Now remember those notches that I cut in there? The reason that I cut those notches in is that I'm going to go around the outside edge of this with a piece of string, and that's going to work as the frame for the fabric that's going to go over this. So I'll show you that in a moment. Alright, so I got the string around the outside edge, and it's not super tight. You know, it's not really super tight, but it's there, and I put a little drop of glue in each of the notches so that when the glue dries it'll hold the string in place. And I left a little bit on the end here as well because that's going to give me something to attach the counterweight. If you ever see a kite, a diamond shaped kite like this that doesn't have what we call the tail on the end, it just spins in the sky. So with the tail it gives us weight and holds the back end down and allows the wind to take the frame away. So that I got all this in place now. There's a bit of glue, like I said, on this string here, this tying pieces together. So I'm going to let all that dry, and I'm going to let everything set nicely, and then I'm going to get back at it probably tomorrow. So until then, I'll see ya. So now that we have the frame put together and the string wrapped around it, it's time to prepare the covering. I'm going to use some fabric here, just an old bed sheet that is probably cotton polyester blend. It's not a super good material, but it's not too bad either. And let's face it, I'm going to be using this kite in pretty heavy winds, so I want something that's going to stand up to the pressure of the wind that we're going to get. So I'm going to lay it out and cut it for you. I'll show you how that works. Okay, so you can see there that the frame fits almost perfectly within the length of that sheet. There's just a little bit left over on the ends. Now, just off the end of the wings here, right along here, on both sides, there's a seam, and that also fits perfectly just on the outside edges of the kite. So I can take those pieces off the end where the seams are, and what I have left over is just about the right size. So there you have pretty much cut to shape in terms of length and width. Now I'm going to cut off the contours and start putting it together. Okay, so there it is. It's all cut down. Now you'll see that there are some edges here. That's just so that I can fold that over and make a seam so that the string is on the inside. That's exactly how you attach the fabric to the frame. And I suppose, you know, if I were really fastidious, I'd sew that by hand, but I'm just going to use glue. Now you can use like carpenter's glue or excuse me, craft glue, anything of that nature. So I'm going to glue this up. I have to do that inside because it's windy out here and I don't want to put the glue on it and have the wind unglue it on me. So I'm going to do it inside the garage. I'll come back and show you what it looks like when it's dried. Okay, so fabric is attached in place, and you'll see here there's a string that's going through the fabric. Now that string is attached to the frame here. I've drilled holes in it rather than tie it around. I've drilled holes so that it's actually much more secure. And everything is in place here. I've got a knot right here. The reason for that knot is when I attach the string that I'm going to use to fly it with, I need something to attach it to, so I can put it through that loop, or I can just tie a lark's head knot over it, which is probably the easiest thing to do. And if you remember earlier, I explained that I left these pieces of string on the end because I have to attach weight to the back, which is known as a tail. Without that, the kite will just spin uncontrollably, and with the tail in place, the kite will work perfectly. I hope, if I have enough tail. So don't go there. Okay, so let's just attach the tail and have a look at it, see what happens. Okay, so remember I mentioned the lark's head? Here I have a loop, just a simple loop. It will not slip. The lark's head is really simply, you just put your thumb and forefinger through the loop, reach back and pull the loop onto itself as such, slip it over the knot. Well, this kite wants to fly already. Just slip it over the knot like so and pull that tight. There you have it. You have a lark's head on a knot on a piece of string. Now that should, for all intents and purposes, that should take off and fly as soon as I hold it up to the air. And we've got about 25 km/h winds today, so that really should be enough to get this thing up there. Although it is a bit heavy, so it may not fly too willingly, but I'll see. I'll let you know.